Scientists are estimating that the world could see the largest drop in carbon emissions in the last century as most industrious nations remain in total lockdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In China, greenhouse gas emissions dropped an estimated 25% as factories and industrial producers slowed output, decreasing coal burning. The situation is no different in Nigeria's commercial center, Lagos, where experts say if this continues for a longer period of time, the worst impact of climate change will be most likely be avoided. TV360's Fidelia Aguncha has more in this report.
The roads are partially empty, factories shuttered, and thousands of flights cancelled as countries around the world enforce total lockdown to contain the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, while all this might be bad for the global economy, it's actually not entirely negative when you look at it from the climate perspective. Green gas and pollutant emission has been on the decline in the past weeks as global activities enter an induced coma, and it's been really good for Lagos State, a city once known for massive noise and air pollution. Let's now meet with an environment expert who will now explain to us the impact of this COVID-19 lockdown on the environment.
What would you say has been the impact of the lockdown on Lagos, a city known for its air and noise pollution?
Most of the industries are not producing at the moment. A lot of vehicles are not on the road. The emission from vehicles is reduced. So many industrial activities. You now see a very normal environment the way nature created it. And I think it's a sign, because from the pandemic, there are so many lessons for different people to draw up, from this pandemic. There are so many lessons that relate to different sectors, the religious groups, the social groups, humans in general. So we need to draw up lessons and reduce our energy use so that we can always have this kind of atmospheric situation all the time.
But just how clean and clear is the air we breathe in right now? Let's talk to residents on the street of Lagos and find out what they think.
The number of women activities is lesser compared to when there was no lockdown. Even the number of industries that are using generators, all those diesels, powered engines, they are not making use of it. So that's what makes it fresher. So it's a simple logic.
The environment is fresher, cleaner, neater. If you live in Lagos for this long, you understand that driving through Oshodi for the first time, no noise. The whole place is cleaner, fresher, devoid of Agbero and the fumes of the buses and the dirtiness of all these places. So I think the environment is renewing itself naturally.
Done? What should the government, what should the regular human on the street do to ensure that this remains the same even when life goes back to normal?
One of the leading contributors to environmental degradation is PET bottles. Now, as we speak now, we don't have people outside buying those drinks. People are in their homes as we speak. So we have less of such waste on the road right now. Now, I think one of the things we need to learn is that even when we resume our normal economic activities, we should put into consideration how we dispose this waste. Then also, vehicular emission control is put in place. We have vehicles, emitting very, harmful substance, and there's no one out there to actually, enforce, restrictions of these vehicles. We need those things to be put in place. It's not all the time you have nature coming out this way to make us do what we're supposed to do.
It's not clear when the COVID-19 pandemic will be over, but one thing is certain, it will be quite difficult for a city like Lagos to maintain the changes we've seen right now in the environment. Fidelia Aguncha, TV360, Lagos.